Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda. This is a vlog of my late autistic and ADHD diagnosis. I also have aphantasia and a memory disorder called SDAM, and I talk about all of these on this channel. So welcome. Today, hopefully you can tell from my last couple of videos, I was really down, and today I woke up just feeling so much more refreshed and better. And a lot of it had to do with a big aha moment that I had this morning as I was waking up. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the video. But I also wanted to talk about some major miscommunication mishaps that happened this week. And I like to talk about these things because this is a real lived experience from an autistic person. So a lot of times, like if you've seen my last couple of videos, people are like, you don't look autistic, everyone's a little bit autistic, but we get into communication mishaps all the time. We misunderstand things. So because this is a vlog, but I actually do have like a life offline too, I want to respect the people in the offline community. So I'm going to talk about this lady, and I'm just going to name her Jane. There was no ill intention against this person. It's just, I'm trying to explain how miscommunications can happen. So I was trying to go to a homeschool meetup with my kids for a Halloween thing that we're trying to put together. The community, the teens in the community want a Halloween party, and they thought it'd be cool to plan the Halloween party together. And a couple of things, because since after COVID, the community has kind of like dispersed, and a lot of these teens haven't socialized really since COVID, and a lot of them have grown apart. A lot of the teens in our community are really struggling with finding connections. So we're really trying to work on that this year, a lot of us as parents. So I was meeting up with a new group. I've never met any of the ladies or families in this group. And this mom said that she would host it at her house. So that was awesome, but I've never been there before. And it's about 30 minutes from my house up kind of like out in the country. And so GPS isn't very reliable there, apparently. Well, because of my aphantasia, I have to use GPS. Like, before GPS was a thing, I had other coping mechanisms where I had a map on the wall and I would write out the roads line by line, turn right here, turn left there. And then MapQuest, I would print them out. Now I just rely on my GPS. And it pretty much serves me. GPS coverages most of the areas that I go. Well, the night before we were going to go to this lady's house, she said, oh, by the way, if you type my address into the GPS, it's going to take you to a rock quarry. It's not going to take you to my house. And then she gave the kinds of instructions like turn right at the bus stop, turn left past this barn. Those kinds of instructions don't work for me as an autistic person, an ADHD person. Like, they just don't work for my brain. So I'm scrambling. I'm trying to look up her house. She did mention the name of a road that you should turn onto. I could not find that road. Like, I was zooming in, could not find that road anywhere. So I was taking screenshots of my map and like routing it and sending them to her in message, asking her if she could like help me figure this out. And in her mind, it was so simple. And so she said, this is really easy. You just follow my instructions. And that just caused me to have more anxiety, because when someone's struggling, if you tell them it's easy, that's just going to shut them down more. And I know she didn't mean it that way. She was trying to help me, but it just didn't go well. And I was getting more and more flustered. I kind of got into a panic attack. I had it was an anxiety panic attack, and my brain pretty much just shut down with at that point, I couldn't hear any instructions. So I finally texted her back after going back and forth many times with again, screenshots, trying to get the route. And I finally said, hey, I'm sorry, this event's just not going to be accessible to me because I have to have street by street turns, and I really rely on my GPS. Well, and so I said, I'm sorry, we're just not going to be able to make it. I've since found out that there is a cool app that can do different type of GPS locating. It's called What 3 Words, I think. So if I ever do need to try to get to her house in the future, I'm going to try to, sorry, I just saw something in my hair. See, we get distracted so freaking easily. I'm going to try to maybe see if we can come up with another way that is accessible for me. Like, I have to advocate for myself because it's like I don't want to miss out on opportunities just because I have a barrier in the way. That's part of my disability. There's a barrier. I need the GPS as an accommodation. Her house isn't on the map. I don't know how she deals with that with deliveries. But luckily there are other tools, which I didn't know about before this, but maybe we can try out this other one. It's called What 3 Words, and apparently it pinpoints your GPS location for you, and then you can give that to somebody to use in a different map. So hopefully, if I need to go to her house again, because it sounds like she's got a really nice property and she wants to host a lot of homeschool events. So that happened. Then the next day, at 1 o'clock, she posted on the Facebook group, hey, a bunch of us are going to get together at this park. And she said the name of the park. And we're going to continue planning the Halloween party. And that park is literally 5 minutes from my house. So I was like, awesome. Okay, we'll try to make this. And she said it's from 3 to 5. So she posted this at 1 o'clock. So I pull up to the park, and for one thing, there was a name missing. It was like Community Park, but it was like Community Meadow Park. I'm saying a different name, right? Well, I'm like, maybe she did what I did, and we both forgot the word meadow was in the name of the park. So I'm pretty sure this is the right park. And we pull up, me and my kids get out of the car, and we're like trying to find some teenagers. See a lot of like 8 and 10-year-olds, and then it looks like under the pavilion, someone's setting up for a birthday party. Huge, like balloons, coolers, like all this stuff coming out. We weren't really looking at it in great detail, but like it was like this big thing. So we're like scanning the park. It's pretty big, looking for teenagers. Don't say anything. So I get on the message board and I'm like, hey, I'm at this park. Did I accidentally go to the wrong one? Again, because there was a name miscommunication. We're here. And they said, oh no, we're here. Follow the balloons. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was a birthday party. They're like, no, that's us. It's a huge group. This thing was posted at 1 p.m. and there's this huge event going on. Like, this could not have been planned that quickly. I was so confused. Like, I thought it was a small gathering of teenagers to plan this party. It was a beautiful day. You know, it was a great day to plan something outside, right? It was like, what the heck? So I walk up to them and I'm like, I thought this was a birthday party. I was looking for a small group of teenagers. And I was getting really flustered again because like this was the scene that I was looking at did not match what was supposed to be happening in my head. And I also had 2 anxious autistic teenagers behind me, right? Well, apparently they run a monthly kid-to-kid market, and it was really cool. I'd never heard of this in the community, so I didn't know what to expect it, but it was a bunch of like the 8 to 10-year-olds who made crafts for each other, like origami and slime and stuff, and they were selling the crafts to each other. So it was a kid-to-kid market. And this mom was like, while I'm here at the kid-to-kid market, let's also plan this Halloween party with the teens. She didn't say that in the Facebook message. I was not looking for a kid-to-kid market. I was looking for just a small group of teenagers. It made me so incredibly anxious. Like, what was happening in front of me wasn't what I expected. And it just caused almost a huge shutdown. I explained to her carefully what happened and why I was so flustered and apologized. And then, but the only teen there was her son. None of the other teens showed up. So we hung out for like half an hour. And then we had to go to another appointment anyway. So it was just, but these miscommunications I know they can happen with anybody, but it's like they happen to me all the time on a daily basis. And it just makes it so hard. Social situations which are already difficult, it just makes it so much harder to navigate when, you know, you've got limited data. If you ask too many questions, people are like, oh my gosh, just figure it out, wing it. When you get there, figure it out. Like, that doesn't work for me. Like, I need to know what I'm going into. So that's just been a big struggle this week, figuring all of that out. But there was one other little communication thing that stood out to me this week that was pretty funny. My daughter is starting physical therapy for TMJ because autistic people, hypermobility is a common autistic trait. And so we often have problems with different joint areas. So like everybody in my family has TMJ issues. So we started physical therapy because her jaw is like trying to lock shut and we needed to get those muscles worked out. So the physical therapist was trying to get her to do an exercise where you kind of move your jaw over a little bit and press it up against your hand. And she told my daughter to do that. And she said, well, I don't remember exactly what her words to describe it was, but my daughter asked, do you want me just to tense the muscle in place or move the jaw over slightly? And the physical therapist said, yes. And my daughter's like, and I said, you said yes to two opposing questions. And she's like, what? And I said, Izzy was asking, do I need to move my jaw or just hold it in place and tense the muscle? And she's like, oh, no, you need to do both. And like, you can't move it and hold it in place at the same time. And she's like, no, move it just barely slightly. And I'm like, okay, so it's just like barely moving, pressing up against and tensing the muscle. Okay, we got it. We figured it out. But a lot of times we will ask either or questions, like, or questions like this or this, and people will just say yes. It's like, and then so you have to navigate and figure out, like, what are they actually wanting us to do? It's just all of these little micro misunderstandings on a daily basis. It wears you down. Anyway, so I want to kind of explain why I'm feeling better today. This little aha moment that I had was a big breakthrough. But first, intermission. Look at my new mug. Oh my gosh. So my whole life, no, why am I being dramatic? My whole life. For many years, I've started a mug collection. I know y'all have seen several of my mugs on this channel and they're always white. So my autistic self, way before I even knew I was autistic, I wanted a mug collection, but the thought of all the different colors and chaos that a lot of mugs can have felt overwhelming. So I started an all white mug collection and I love it and I've curated it and I pick out all my mugs carefully. But every time I see a fun, absolutely crazy mug, I get sad because it's like, I want that mug, but I wouldn't allow myself to buy it because it didn't fit the parameters of the collection I was creating. So I've decided to celebrate the diversity of my brain, and I'm going to have my all white mug collection on one wall of my kitchen and have it be its thing. And then on another wall in my dining room, I'm going to start a fun mug collection of mugs that I select that make me happy and make my brain go wee when I see them. So this is the first one of that collection. This cute little strawberry mug for my blind viewers. It's a red mug with like, that looks like a strawberry and it's got little strawberry seeds on it. And the stem is a green, the stem of the glass, the handle of the glass is a green stem. I love that tea so much. I've been stuck on it forever. It's Bigelow's black vanilla caramel tea. The splash of cream. It is so good. Okay, so this morning, lay in bed, and I have been I mean, seriously struggling this week and feeling really kind of in burnout again. And actually, it's been more than a week. It's probably been 2 or 3, but I'm time blind, so I don't know. Um, what happened is over the past couple of weeks, I have been struggling with pushback a bit against disability advocacy. So I've been a disability advocate my entire life, but it wasn't until my autistic diagnosis where I realized I was actually part of the disability community and part of my unmasking to actually start to be more vocal about disability advocacy. Before, I was much more subtle. Like I would use alt text whenever I could. I would stand up for a disabled person in a community post. You know, it was real subtle stuff, but I was never super outspoken. Part of my mask was to be a people pleaser, always put other people's comfort ahead of my own, which meant that I never allowed myself to have very strong, loud vocal opinions. So I always flew under the radar. Part of unmasking was to let this passion of mine that has been with me since I was a teenager to fly free and out loud and outspoken. Well, so a lot of autistic people, when we have a passion, it becomes a hyper focus and we info dump, we talk about it, it like becomes all consuming. I think if there was a neurotypical person who was a disability advocacy advocate, they would do that. They would be passionate about it, but they would also have some other balance in their life because they don't get hyper focused the way that an autistic person can do with a thing. So in my online life and my offline life, everything has been circling back to autism, ADHD, or just disability advocacy. And in some of my offline life, some of my friends have started to be like, can we talk about something else? And it was starting to shut me down because I was getting that pushback and that need to, okay, I'm causing trouble. And I was starting to remask without realizing it. And in some online spaces, and the new app Threads, for instance, I was getting some comments like, do you ever talk about anything else? And I'm like, this is my niche. Like, you wouldn't tell a food account, why are you only posting pictures of food? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But it still was getting into my head. So this aha moment this morning that I had was, I am remasking. That's why I'm not happy anymore. I am slowly shutting down and feeling like my voice is causing trouble, so I need to stop, which is absolutely the opposite thing that needs to happen with advocacy, but it makes complete sense for an autistic person who is struggling to unmask. So after I've been diagnosed for almost a year now, and after this year, it's starting to get to people who are in my life. So, and the way I got to this is because, you know, people were telling this aha moment, the way I got there is people were telling me like, okay, can we talk about something else? Right. And so I'm like, well, who am I? Like, I wasn't the person I was masked. That was a fake persona that my autistic mask created that I wasn't even aware of. Okay. Well, sorry, I just had a tangent. It's like, I'm making a mental note, like something I want to talk to my therapist about, which is a lot of this too, in my next session. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, I hate it when my brain goes on tangents. I hate it. I hate it. Okay. So people were telling me this. So I started to think to myself, okay, I'm not that person. Who am I now? What are the things that I'm passionate about? And I'm like, okay, well, y'all see my video on the art. I love doing art occasionally. I love yoga. I want to get back into that now that I'm healing from my foot surgery. I really want to get back into working out. That was a big passion of mine a couple of years ago. So I was just thinking about like the different things that I enjoy doing, but nothing was like really like, whoo. And then I said disability advocacy, and I'm like, that's who I want to be. Like, I want to be a disability advocate. And I was feeling shut down around that. And then it was just like that light bulb moment of what was happening. And so I do want to find some balance. I want to respect the people in my life who do want to talk about other things. I feel it is important to be a well-rounded human being. I do like to talk about other things sometimes, but I realize that I have become very hyper-focused on this one subject, and sometimes people around you just want to break from it. I get it. So having that breakthrough literally just like lifted my mood. This burnout feeling that I've been feeling for several weeks now, just really just like, it's like it just bubble popped and released. And I like felt like I could be me again. Like, I don't know what this is going to look like. I still have stuff to figure out, but I figured out what was causing that burnout sensation again was listening to outside forces telling me who I needed to be and remasking. And I want to share this because it's so important for all of us who are going on an unmasking journey, that it's so easy to fall back in to that mask, especially people who got diagnosed like as late as I did at 42. There's pushback from people. People don't want me to be different than the person that they known me my whole life. And that person put me in burnout. That person is not a healthy person for me to be. And people in my life need to know that and understand that and support me around it. And I need to do the work to find out who I am, what I'm passionate about, and find balance and all of that to be a well-rounded human being. I'm just sitting here kind of in awe because last week felt so difficult. And I know it's not the end. Like I've said so many times on this vlog, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, going up and down and crying and figuring and sorting. I've got so many years to unpack. It's gonna take time to figure it out. And I need to keep having patience with myself, and I need to keep exploring these things and having these aha moments and sharing them with y'all, because so many of us are going on this journey and there's no manuals out there, because this level of autism awareness is new. Most of the information out there on autism is so outdated. And so actually autistic voices like us are paving a new path, and hopefully doctors and researchers are listening to actually autistic voices. They're hearing us, they're hearing our experiences, and they are sharing that with their patients and clients, and we can make a difference. So just keep unmasking, because it is the best for your mental health. Just realizing I was remasking and just being able to tear that off again, it's like a weight was lifted off of me. So good to talk to you all again today. I just love you guys so much. Until the next video, bye. There's my Milo. There's my Milo. What? You're so cute. You're so cute.